Welcome into the official. We've got the great show for you. Of course, we're giving the people what they want. We kind of just did a mock last month for fun, thinking that it was probably way too early, and it got like 3 times the views that we normally get on YouTube. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna run it back with a mock this time. It's gonna be rounds 3 and 4. Last time it was rounds 1 and 2. And it'll be the same exact format, just adding to players and ranking them where we would draft them as of right now as part of the evaluation process moves forward. And then we'll keep doing these, probably do a new mock starting with round 1 and 2 in a month. So, stick with us on the official. We're going to keep pumping out these mocks every month and, really appreciate the support and that everybody loves them. So without further ado, this is the official. All right, guys, good to have you here. David, feeling a little bit better this week. Glad you are back with us to do another mock. Kind of surprised at how much people wanted to see a mock of 2024 freshmen, but the people have spoken. We're going to keep doing these. Before we get started, like and subscribe to this video if you enjoy what we're doing the official, which is taking a look at recruiting through analytics and also applying these players to our fantasy rosters, whether it's CFF Dynasty or Campus to Canton. Speaking of Campus to Canton, if you haven't checked out our parent website, campus2canton.com, this is a website that has all you need for an entire immersive fantasy football experience, whether it is the college side, the NFL side, or the original that we developed the website for, which is a Campus to Canton league where you have a college side that feeds into an NFL Dynasty side and everything in between. Articles, tools, rankings, even customized one-on-ones with a founder to talk about your roster construction in our highest tier. We do have multiple tiers available at different price points for whatever you need. And that is the spiel for Campus Canton. Matt, David, thank you for joining as always. We got some big news. Probably the biggest news we could talk about landed this week. The number 1 overall player, the number 1 overall QB, Dylan Raiola commits to Georgia. I've done enough talking. Matt, what do you think about that?
I mean, obviously a lot of people aren't going to like it. Georgia isn't known for being this high-power passing offense, although they were a bit better at it last year. Although I don't think people give them enough credit for that. They have had a rough history with quarterbacks in the past. I don't really think Georgia's going to get in the way of Raiola eventually being a first-round pick. If he doesn't, that's all on him. He'll have every opportunity, all the training to do so, and he definitely has weapons there too. So I don't hate it. I prefer it over Nebraska.
You got it like that, David. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely prefer it over Nebraska. I mean, I don't know. It's a good place to go if you want to win a championship. Apparently, I mean, they just won 2 in a row, and he's gonna be set up with. They get tons of talent at tight end and receiver, and I mean their defense is just stupid. It's really stupid. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 2 more while he's there. I mean, as far as his development go, yeah. I mean, I think we all kind of agree, like his talent level. It's kind of tough to ruin that. I would say all in all, it's a pretty good spot for him.
But yeah, I totally agree with kind of the both of what you said. I think they'll probably, there's a good chance they win 2 more national titles. I mean, this is just getting ridiculous for UGA. Of course, the one thing they didn't have was that top tier quarterback. And now they do, assuming he sticks. Everything else is in place. Like David said, the entire rest of the roster is stacked to the 2 deep, probably 3 deep. And they had been rolling with this guy, Stetson Bennett, for 3 years or so. And, he was fine. This takes them to a completely different level, the way that, an excellent quarterback took Alabama's offense to the next level when they, kind of sputtered along for a while. The Kirby plan seems to be even faster than the Saban plan, because Saban went through a bunch of quarterbacks for quite a few years, winning titles even before they started getting that, Hurts, Tua, Bryce Young back to back to back. This is only I guess it might be the fifth or sixth year for Kirby. So maybe it's actually not that far off on the timeline. Finally getting that quarterback in place. And now, it could be a 20-year run, I guess, at UGA. The only thing I'll ever say, tying it into fantasy, in my opinion, I think they're going to let this kid play. I don't think that we need to be that worried. I think that it's going to be just an offense that kills you in every which way, whether it's running the ball, throwing the ball. Their defense, the thing I'd be actually more worried than anything is just like their defense is so good. They're not going to be in these shootouts. For college fantasy, you kind of want that action. You want that Big 12 where the games can be 60 to 61. In the SEC with their defense, they'll win games 30, 35 to 3 or whatever, but they may just not have to score 10 touchdowns the way that other teams sometimes find themselves in that situation. But otherwise, I think he's going to be great. He's going to be great. I have no reservations. All right. Dylan Raiola, I agree with what Matt said, though. It's all on his shoulders. Georgia's not going to hold him back. If he's good, he's going to be good. Period. Aaron Butler to Colorado. Matt, you can go first here, too. I know he's been a guy you've talked quite a bit about. What do we think? I still don't know what to think about Colorado. You might not have an opinion just yet.
Yeah, it's just another one. I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. He could end up, getting pretty early playing time. I think I like him considerably more than anybody else they got in last year's class, although they did, get some guys in. I guess we'll see how the offense is this year. It's definitely expected to be, at least a little bit more exciting than what we've seen previously out of Colorado. So, wishful thinking.
Yes. David, any other thoughts? I know you guys both liked him quite a bit. I agree with Matt, though. I think, with his position, kind of athlete, kind of wide receiver, he'll probably be able to put up, stuff no matter where he is, kind of in whatever landing spot. Maybe one of the best players that, in our opinion, that has wound up at Colorado. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's going to end up being a tier 1 receiver for me. But have you guys heard anything? Because I know he's like a high level corner too. Are they going to do some wonky thing like Travis Hunter where he's playing both ways?
He said he's playing wide receiver there. I don't think he wants to play corner.
That was the only fantasy risk, but it's just, we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, and I kind of mentioned this in the Amari and Miller write up that I did for the guide last year, and their defense is just going to take a while to overhaul it. I'm pretty sure. They had no talent at all. On that team, it was so bad last year, and I even though I do think Deion's going to do a good job recruiting and upgrading the talent there, I think it's going to take a little while. And so basically they're going to be playing from behind, a lot, I would think, and that means a lot of passing, and so that's good for Butler, and we'll see what they. I think Shedeur Sanders. I think he's going to be there a couple years. I don't know if it's going to go, the season's going to go so good that his stock just soars or whatever, and it makes sense to come out. So I think he's there a couple years. So maybe he's there while they kind of overlap a little bit and get things going. But yeah, the wide receiver talent isn't so good that he can't just come in, and I don't think he'll be a year 1-0 for sure.
Yeah, if you think he's a tier 1 talent, I agree. There's not going to be much in his way. Travis Hunter would maybe be in his final year. And then after that, unless there was one guy we kind of liked who went to Colorado this year, but otherwise I think you guys would both probably have Butler considerably higher based on
Wasim.
Yeah, Wasim. Yeah. But it sounds like Butler's pretty. He was a fun 3-star gem, but it sounds like you guys are going to have Butler as a legitimate prospect, especially David. So, that's an interesting landing spot just because he could come in and be one of the best players on the offense right away. All right, so let's get into it. Mock draft. I guess we're saying this is still mock draft 1, but it's the follow-up rounds 3 and 4. We started with Matt last time, and so we're going to start with David this time. He's going to have the 301. We'll just alternate all the way down the line. I think we do just for funsies. We'll do back to back at the turn and then go to the end. So quick recap. I'm just going to read names. 101, Dylan Raiola, then Micah Hudson, DJ Lagway, Jeremiah Smith, Mylan Graham, Nathaniel Fraser, Julian Sayin, Cam Coleman, Cameron Davis, Jaden Riddell, who's a tight end. We talked about him last week, actually, on the Athlete Freak Show. Taylor Tatum, Aaron Noland, Bryant Wesco, Aaron Butler, Jason Brown, Draylon Miller, Johisha Trader, Kedron Young, Walker White, Jared Gibson, Jordan Marshall, Mike Matthews, Terry Busey, and Landon Thomas rounded out the 212. So those are the names that went in round one. Go back, I think it's mid-April of the official, if you want to go check the first mock draft and hear a little bit more about all those players. And I can even link it in the description here. But David, you are up with the 301. Who is left that you kind of like to add to your freshman hall here?
Yeah, so things are starting to slowly drop off. Pretty much across all positions here. And Matt and I were talking about running back production. We're going through a bunch of profiles over the last week. And it's pretty scarce out there. And I don't know if that's because, junior production scores or whatever are usually kind of weak and maybe they take a step up as seniors. But one guy that did stand out to me and from an athletic perspective as well is Johan Cardenas. I don't know, probably butchering that name, but he's interesting because, this is the negative side of things. He did have a knee injury last year, but before he got hurt, he was averaging nearly 200 yards from scrimmage and about two and a half touchdowns per game. So productive guy. He is, 6 foot, 215. He reports a 40-inch vertical, which is like, most times I'm like pretty skeptical of it, but there is a video of him doing a drop step dunk that's pretty nasty on Twitter. And if it's not 40, I mean, we'll say 37 and be conservative. It's got to be up there, but you can see on film, like he's bursty and he can accelerate for sure. And that's kind of what we want. Like we want that burst out of a big guy like that. His long speed isn't amazing or anything, but it's fine. It's not bad. And same goes for his change of direction. His change of directions, he has to gather himself a little bit when he's changing directions at times, which is not ideal. But listen, I mean, you're going to have flawed guys down here anyway. So I like him. We don't know where he's going. He was committed to Texas Tech, but I think he's warm on 24/7 for Kentucky, which would be a really good spot for him. Pro style offense, likes to run the ball quite a bit. Pretty weak running back room. I think he's better than Jamarian Wilcox. And I don't know that they had some dude that just transferred there today. I don't know if you guys know him. I don't really know him very well, but people seem to like him from North Carolina State. Semi something or rather. He's got like a hyphenated last name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I mean, I don't think he's a special guy.
Yeah, so it's like he'll be in the mix with that guy. I don't even know if I think he's maybe he'll be a third year guy next year, possibly. Regardless, I'm probably overanalyzing at this point. Good player.
for a guy that you already said, hey, there's nobody left.
Yeah, so whatever. Welcome to the team.
No, man, I think the way you described him, and honestly, yeah, what I'm looking at too, a little bit like a guy we talked about last week, maybe in that Gabriel Winovich mold. The breakaway speed, maybe not great, but well over 200 pounds, bursty with the ability. We highlighted Winovich last week as an athletic freak with crazy testing numbers, but just a bigger guy who can still move. I'm fine with it. That sounds good. Matt, 302.
All right, I will be taking quarterback Colin Hurley. He's committed to LSU, and he is incredibly young for the class. He is he reclassified from 2025 to move up to this year, and he won't even be 16 or he won't even be 17 yet when he walks on campus. He'll be 16.8 or something at National Signing Day. So, extremely young player, extremely big arm, got elite 11 invite to go to the finals. He definitely needs to clean up his game a little bit. Only 55% completion rate last year is definitely something you want to see improve. But again, we're talking about a really young player playing pretty good competition out of Florida. So I really like his upside. And if he impresses at the finals, he could at the moment he's a top 5 quarterback for me. At the back end, QB5. So
Okay. Great. And you're getting him as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth quarterback up the board. So a little value there. All right, David, you're up again. 3-3.
So this is a guy that excited me quite a bit in the beginning. He was listed at 6'4", 190. Is it Terrence Moore? Is this receiver? I go through Ohio State offers just like anybody else, just to see who they're on. He's one of 13 receivers they've offered. With that in mind, like the 6'4", 190 thing, when you watch his tape and you see how flexible he is, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, why doesn't he have more attention? Because like the services were real low on him, and like he doesn't really have many weaknesses. He's really well rounded. I thought like a good route runner. His track. I think his track numbers is where people are probably not on him as much because I think he's in I think his 100 meter was like 11:30 or something like that. And his jumps aren't that great, like his long jump and stuff, but he recently had like a 6'6" high jump. And the mile per hour we got on him we won't reference mile per hour too much, but let's just say it was fast, a lot faster than his track times. So, but I actually don't think he is like when I watch him, I'm like, there's no way he's 6'4". Like I'm pretty sure he's like 6'2", like 180. He doesn't look nearly as big as that listing, but regardless, I think he's a good player. Like I said, well-rounded. I have no idea where he's going to go. I don't know. I know Florida is looking at. Maybe you know something about him, Alfred. I know Florida's looking at him.
Yeah, it looks like he's got an official on the books for Florida June 9th and Clemson on June 2nd. So he'll go to Clemson in Florida. And then of note, I'm just reading his little write-up here. He's young for his grade, won't turn 18 till he's already in college. So that's always a good thing, right? So all right, Terrence Moore. I mean, this is why these mocks are great. I mean, you're saying that recruiting services aren't high on him, but he's, going to be drafted as like a top 10, 15 guy for us. So that's pretty cool. All right, Matt, you're up 304.
all right, I'll be going with Perry Thompson here, wide receiver out of Alabama, committed to Alabama. Services are much higher on him than where we're drafting him here. And he's the highest. He's actually the second highest graded player on my board right now, but I already took a quarterback, so I'm not going to double dip there again.
Wow, second highest player
Remaining on my board still.
Oh, got it. Okay.
No, not overall. No.
Yeah, sorry.
He's a pretty high end athlete. Very flexible for his size. Very fluid athlete. Goes up and gets the ball really well, and he's kind of got that prototypical X receiver build, but I think he has really high end upside, but he's a bit raw at the moment.
I love it. I took a look at him today, actually, and I was pretty impressed. Not overwhelming, like just breakaway speed, but he seems like a very solid wide receiver.
Very bursty.
Technical with burst, yeah, but able to use that burst to get in and out of breaks and things like that. I liked it. Some yak ability at that size is always a nice bonus as well. So, all right, great. Perry Thompson, 5-star going to Bama. Not a bad spot to pick him up. David, you're up with the 305.
I'll take Luke Kromenhoek here, quarterback going to Florida State. Kind of just checks a lot of boxes for me. Nothing overwhelming really. I like him, don't love him, but he's got the traditional height like we like, 6'4". He's athletic, like he's like a 20% rushing market share. He played like a 35 SOS, so it's like he's in Georgia. It's like 4A, but he did play some decent like out of conference teams to like kind of boost that SOS. So like wasn't too bad there. He already got an Elite 11 ticket, pretty strong arm. But Florida State's a pretty stable program right now, and they're doing really well with. It's like a lot of these teams kind of like their brains have broken with the new NIL stuff, and it seems like they have figured it out pretty fast here. So I kind of just trust their pathway at this point.
I hate to hear that, but I can't deny that it seems like FSU's got figuring some stuff out here. No doubt about it. And Chroma, I mean, he's a guy that I keep seeing that name attached to some pretty high praise. You know, I know he's still not ranked that high. He's 10th, it looks like, for 24/7 composite. But you know, I keep hearing people like he's really, really good. I mean, I saw there was a you know, some people from On3 seem to think he's like really, really good. So former receiver, you've mentioned him before. Very interesting prospect, if nothing else. Okay, Matt, 306.
All right, I'll be taking Quentin Martin, running back / athlete, going to Penn State. He's, he's kind of ambiguous positionally. There's a chance he's going to start out at running back there, but there's a chance he could play safety. He also, lines up wide receiver a lot, and he's pretty good at that too. So I think he could end up at any 3 spots. I'm just hoping, for offense at this point. Not the best straight line speed athlete, but very agile for his size. Like I said, fantastic receiver, moves really well in the open field, good kick returner. There's a lot to like there, and I think he could be, after Singleton and Allen are gone, I think he could be the next back there.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about him not that long ago. I thought when he committed, and I liked his potential there for sure. Okay, 3, 7, David. Getting us to the back half of the 3rd round here. And honestly, some of these guys are still very intriguing.
I'm gonna go full on Chris Moxley here. I'm gonna grab another tight end. I like Caleb Odom quite a bit. Like I watched his basketball highlights, and that's kind of all I need to do really sometimes. Like he's real athletic on the basketball court. Like I'm talking like off the dribble, he's like going coast to coast, just throwing it down.
Upset. I really wanted to get him a little bit later.
Oh, see, got on the little snag there. Can't get too upset over tight end, but he's like 6'6", 215. I'm not too worried about the weight right now. Like, I think by the time he gets to college, he'll probably be pushing 230, whatever. Then he's got another 15, 20 pounds till we feel good about him. But he's a guy that's like, is he a dog? I don't know if I'd consider him a dog necessarily. He's probably closer to the Deuce Robinson role. It's interesting because we just saw like Dalton Kincaid, like that guy is not much of a blocker. He just kind of gets in the way type of person. He's more like a big slot receiver, and like the NFL had no problem taking him in the 1st round. So it's like, I kind of view him similarly to that. He's just like an offensive weapon, but yeah, super athletic. I don't know, maybe like his verified testing numbers aren't, I don't know if he pops in Matt's like athletic scores right now, but like when you just like watch him, you just kind of know he's athletic type of thing. So, yeah, I like him quite a bit. I don't know where he's going either. I think possibly Ole Miss is where he's favored.
Oof. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I will excited to check out those basketball highlights. All right, Matt, 3.08. What you got?
Give me 1 second here. I was too busy being upset about David stealing it from me. I'll go with wide receiver Zion Kearney, committed to Oklahoma out of Texas. We talked about him last week on the Freak Show. Oh wait, did we? No, we actually didn't. I don't think we did. He is.
He didn't make the cut because I know why, but you can mention.
Yeah, he is. I believe about 6'1" or 6'2", 200 pounds. Reportedly runs between a 4.28 and a 4.32 40 time at a TCU camp. So that's pretty ridiculous at a player's size. He kind of lacking in production a bit last year. I think he'll step that up a bit this year, hopefully. I think he's just such a fluid athlete too. I think he is really flexible for a player his size too. I think he's gonna, as he develops more as a receiver, I think he'll do better in the breaking routes than a lot of guys his size will. And yeah, I mean, Oklahoma's not an awful spot. None of the young wide receivers they've brought in up to this point have really popped yet. And got 2 quarterbacks in Jackson Arnold and Hawkins in this class. So I think it's a good spot to be in.
Sounds good to me. Speaking of Hawkins, could be time soon. I would be interested in taking him soon. All right, David, 3.09. Not that I needed to tip you off or anything like that.
All right, I'm gonna go with. I'll go with Nitro Tuggle. So I know we're getting off the board here. I don't know how efficient even like the services would say their rankings are right now because they're pretty fluid at this stage and they only do so many updates. But like, I think him committing to Georgia kind of opened people's minds on what kind of talent we're talking about. And he was a little bit overlooked from playing in Indiana, but we talked about how he's transferring to IMG. I'm kind of gonna bet on that narrative a little bit at this point. Like I just feel like it has to be good. I mean, it's a freaking boarding school where it's like they eat, sleep, and drink football. That's all they do over there. Obviously they take their studies seriously as well too, but that's their main focus, preparing for college. As far as like fantasy wise, going to Georgia, obviously it's not super exciting, but I do think like for his size and like his movement skills are really good for his size, like his lateral movement and stuff. So I think he has like upside as a route runner, and he's explosive and stuff. Matt had talked about him in a previous episode how his hands are a little shaky and stuff. So hopefully he improves that. But I like him more than the services do at this point, and I think he'll move up over time.
You're muted.
All right. So IMG continues to be a bit of a tough eval for us because they don't seem to be putting up the traditional production scores, but we've seen guys come out of there, especially as wide receivers, and be really good right away. I mean, one of which was Carnell Tate. Maybe he's the exception, but he hasn't even been in a game yet, but just like what he did in spring was overwhelming. So we'll see. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. 310, Matt. Bring us to getting close to the end of the third round. We'll do a quick recap.
All right, I'm going to go with Daniel Hill, listed athlete, most likely going to play running back. He plays a lot of receiver, too, on his tape, too. I think he's also a pretty high-end linebacker prospect, too. So a lot going on there. He's a big guy, I think 6'2", 6'1", 230, 220 around there. And, he moves pretty good for his size. He's not playing, awesome competition. It's impressive to see, someone who's going to be a big back who can go out and catch the ball really well. I think he just won state championships in his region or wherever his conference is. He's won his hurdles and track. So explosive athlete in that area too. 600-pound squat. We just talked about that last episode on the freak list preview. So just a gifted athlete, has, I think pretty much every SEC offer out there. Alabama's looking at him pretty heavy, I believe. So, I think him being listed athlete, a lot of people are going to overlook him a bit there.
Classic athlete overlook there. All right, David, 311.
311. I'll go with James Peoples, just a solid. He's got committed to Ohio State. I do think he's marginally the best. So they didn't take a running back last class, and so far they have 3 signed for this class. I do think he's marginally better than Jordan Lyle, and there's some other guy. He's got a hyphenated name. Can't think of it now, but
Sam William Dixon, I believe.
Yeah, Williams Dixon. So he's not amazing. He's a good player, solid, good solid player. I think he's like above average at kind of everything, and that's what we're looking at here. And it's a good offense to go to.
Yeah, I kind of liked Peoples a little bit. I mean, yeah, I agree. It wasn't overwhelming, but when I watched him, I was like, I think this guy's kind of good. Matt, take us home on 312. Pause. We'll do a quick recap, and then you're going to lead off 4th round.
All right, I'll go with running back Christian Clark out of Arizona. He is uncommitted. I believe I talked about him 3 episodes ago. 5'11", 195. He's been picking up a lot of steam lately this offseason. He's been getting a bunch of the big name offers. I think he's probably one of the better lateral movers in this class. So I think there's a lot to like there.
All right, sounds good. Quick recap with the run on running backs there, running back became the most picked position, which is interesting because we've been saying how bad the running back class is, but they seem to dominate the third round here with 5 picked. And that was Johan Cardenas was one of those guys. And we went Colin Hurley, quarterback, Terrence Moore, wide receiver, Perry Thompson, wide receiver, Kromanoic, quarterback, Quinton Martin, athlete slash running back, Caleb Odom, tight end, Zion Kearney, wide receiver, Nigerian Tuggle, wide receiver, and then 3 running backs in a row. Daniel Hill listed as an athlete, James Peoples, and Christian Clark. So, Matt, lead us with the 401 here.
Give me 1 second. I'll just go Michael Hawkins here. I'll give in to you. I criticize him a bit on the other show, but he is a fun playmaker with high upside at least. One of the more mobile guys in his class. He makes a lot of backyard style throws. A fun player, a lot to like. Don't like that he's going to Oklahoma though.
It's tough
to
Jackson
have to be
Arnold
behind Arnold.
Seems to be very good.
Maybe he flips though.
Maybe he flips, or maybe he just is better. I mean, we get these things wrong. Wouldn't be bad to take both. All right, David, 4.02. What do you got?
You kind of sold me on Aaron Hampton a couple of shows ago.
All right.
I actually went. Yeah. Well, the highlights he picked were good. He showed some pretty good route running there, some pretty good change of direction. Physical for a smaller guy, and like his production really pops. I mean, he's got an Alabama offer. Really just dynamic player. I like him.
Love to see it. All right, just in the sake of time, we'll kind of just keep this thing going quick. Matt, 403.
I'll go. I don't want to take another running back. I'll take Xavier Jordan. We just covered him last week too. USC commit, stack wide receiver room. I really like the talent though, and elite producer.
Never gonna knock an elite producer. All right, here we go. We're just rolling now. David with the 404.
There's a player I really want to take, but it's just a really weird situation for him. But so I guess I'll just go with Aeneas Williams. Maybe this is a homer pick. I mean, the guy has over 2,000 yards receiving so far through 3 years in high school. So it's like he's like a triple threat where he's a decent runner. He's not an amazing runner, but he can catch the ball and he can pass block. So coaches will love that. He's kind of a dog. I like that, and I could see him being productive for multiple years at Notre Dame.
Yeah, you've mentioned it before. I mean, he is a guy that I think might get lost in the shuffle when it all comes out. But yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. Like the clips were pretty good the time that we brought him up on the show. The clips were pretty nice. Okay, Matt, 405.
All right, I'm actually going to take tight end here, and I'm going to go with Walter Matthews. He is massive, listed at 6'7" some places. I think 230, 240. He's huge, pro-ready size already pretty much. And I believe he's, a 90th percentile athlete in our testing. We got him at like 21 miles per hour as size, which is incredible. Probably, one of the better blockers already at this point too. Does a lot of inline work. He plays out wide, big catch radius, decent after the catch. There's just a lot to like there. I think he's a bit underrated by the service currently.
Another guy who's going to go to Florida on June 9th. Maybe we got a big visit day on June 9th, I hope. Seems like what you said, he would actually be a guy that would fit into that offense if he's going to block and play inline a little bit as well and just be kind of that all-around tight end. Pretty cool. He's from Georgia, so not too far away. And they got, UGA has their sights on someone else. But seems like, would it be wrong to say he might give you sense of Darnell Washington?
Yeah, maybe like baby Darnell. I mean, Darnell was like already 260 coming out of high school, so.
That's fair. All right, David, keep us going. 406.
All right. I was about to take another tight end, but so I should just mention like the quarterback dilemma right now is just that because people are probably wondering like, are they ever going to take any of these dudes? Like, I don't know, because like CJ Carr is a solid player. Like, is Notre Dame a good spot for college fantasy production? Same goes for Jaden Davis. Like, solid player. Like, going to Michigan. Like, is that something to be excited about? I don't know. Elijah Brown. I mean, I I don't know. It's just a tough situation with these quarterbacks. And then Ryan Puglisi. I mean, that guy I think he has an NFL arm. He's got like a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Like, I think he might have an NFL arm, but like he says he's not leaving Georgia. Like, he's committed to Georgia. He's like, I'm not, like, Rayola's gonna have to beat me out.
Well, he said that since Raiola.
Yeah, he said that
Yeah.
yesterday.
Well, that's probably the first thing that they're gonna say. But we'll
yeah,
see.
is he talk is cheap? Whatever. We'll see what he
People are
actually
gonna
does.
start. People are gonna start tampering. People are gonna be calling him up.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw like my two cents on the quarterback situation right now and kind of where they're
He's from
sliding.
Connecticut. He's from Connecticut.
Hey,
Boston College is gonna get him or something.
yeah, I can
Anyway,
see.
go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's all good.
Around.
I just figured I'd kind of quickly touch on that because I really don't know what to do like with those quarterbacks. Like, they're all decent.
You won't
As far
take
as like,
Haas Hedgie right now. You won't take Haas Hedney.
well, I feel like I can get guys that I like just as much like way later,
Yeah.
for nothing. So it's just like,
Yeah.
I kind of considered Haas. I mean, gotta love that name too.
Yep.
So, I guess I'll go with Gatlin Bear. I don't know why. I don't know. Can I stash? Is it bad to stash this guy or not?
It's not bad.
Like, if I'm just a patient player, I have a big roster, I can just let him sit there for a couple years. Like, he's not going to forget how to play football. This guy's going to run a 4-2, I think.
He needs to learn how to play football first is the issue.
Oh,
I haven't
boy.
watched. I'll be honest.
Oh boy.
Hey, big confession to our audience here. I have not watched this tape, but this dude runs like a 10-1-5. Like,
Confessions on the official.
I mean, he gets faster every event. I don't know how he's doing it, but like all his times are just getting faster. Like, I mean, I don't know how low he's gonna go, but like and he's not small, by the way. Like, he's like 6'2", 190. He's like he's pretty ripped up. Like, he's got two older brothers that are real shredded that run like college track and stuff. Matt's apparently watched the tape. He's not impressed, so maybe it's a bad pick, but there's some upside. There's got to be upside there.
All right, back half of the fourth round, we are going 48 players deep and only fantasy relevant players. This is a very deep draft. Matt, keep us going. Get us to the home. Get us home here with 407.
All right. At this point, he's kind of fallen a bit for me where he's graded, but he's one of the highest athletic testers in our database. So I'll just grab him here. Braylon Russell, uncommitted out of Arkansas. 6'1", 230-ish. Incredible lifting numbers. 4.5 40 times. We got him at 21 flat miles per hour. So there's just a lot to like there athletically. He looks a bit stiff on tape. He's not the most fluid mover out there, but at this point, I'm just banking on the athleticism, really.
I'll never fault you for that, buddy. All right, David, 408. You have any more existential crises you want to go through before you make?
Yeah, no, I'll keep this one short. Caden Durham, he is a small running back. On3 has him at 5'9", 195. That honestly might be pushing it. He might be smaller than that, honestly. But he's a track guy, real fast, super productive. Plays for a powerhouse, Duncanville, and I think he had nearly like 3,000 yards last year with like 36 touchdowns. His tape, he's fast. He breaks a lot of big runs. There's not a like, his tape didn't wow me, honestly, like as like a well-rounded running back or anything like that. But like, he can get to the corner and just go, basically.
All right. Well, he better be able to at 180. Matt, 409.
195.
Oh, 195.
I'm
Okay.
just saying on 3 as
You
of
said,
I
oh
don't
yeah,
know.
you said it was an update. Okay,
It's
yeah,
probably
that's
somewhere in
great.
between. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. All right,
Oh
409,
wow!
Matt.
I just realized somebody is on the board still. That I think it's a decent value here. I'll go with Ryan Wingo.
Well, that's who I thought when you were talking about athleticism. I was like, oh, he's gonna go Wingo.
Oh yeah, no, I just realized. Yeah, he's a bit lower than graded than.
Yeah, we have him low, but I
Yeah.
think that's a great pick at this point.
Yeah, I might have to boost him a little bit up now, thinking about it, because I think at this point in the draft, it's a good value considering how high the
Just,
upside
just
is.
hope we're wrong on his, on his wide receiver ability, and the athleticism just dominates.
Yeah, or someone develops him.
All right. Okay, we've talked about him before. We've talked about Ryan Wingo a couple of times. So, David, 410.
I'm gonna go with a tight end who is actually a dog, Brady Prieskorn. I just watched him today, but I think he averaged over 20 yards per catch. He's actually a pretty big play guy. He's got some yak to him, and he is a dog in the blocking game. He's going to Michigan. We like that. I mean, they do well with tight ends. His brother was the tight end at Memphis that just
Memphis.
transferred.
Yeah, that name sounds familiar. The last name.
Yeah, he just transferred to a P5 school. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's a bigger version of him. He's listed at 6'5", 220. He'll have no issues getting a 250 range. And yeah, Michigan, I mean, strength and conditioning and all that, it's a good spot.
It's funny. All the schools that we hate from most positions for tight end, we love Michigan, Penn State, Iowa. The Notre Dame. These teams that we like, running backs, receivers, quarterbacks go there. And we're like, tight ends go to these schools. We're like, we like that. So this is the way it is. All right, Matt, 411. This will be your last pick.
I'm actually going to double dip at tight end here.
Wow.
Christian Ben Tanker. I honestly don't know how to say his name. Committed to Clemson. And I was pretty surprised by his tape. He's pretty fun. Good after the catch. Really good after the catch. Big play guy. And hopefully with this new look Clemson offense, we can get some more exciting receiving numbers.
Fair enough. Yeah, they should be a good offense, unless Garrett Riley was, I don't know, just got lucky last year. And then bring us home 412, David. This has been a long draft, but we're getting these names out there. We're putting them in order for the people, and I know that they're going to appreciate it. But who you got? 48th pick here.
So now we're just getting into wild card territory. There's a lot of big athletic receivers that are remaining, like Cam Williams. People are probably yelling at us right now because I think he's rated relatively high. But he's like a raw receiver going to Notre Dame. I don't trust them to develop anyone. So Jamari Colley is another guy I was considering. There's another guy, Isaiah Moore, that I think is I'm going to take him. I think he's pretty interesting. He's another guy that he's really lowly rated. I think he was offered by Ohio State. Brian Hartline actually said he reminded him of Marvin Harrison. So I don't know. He's obviously not. He'd be rated higher by now if he was really that. But he plays really physically, which I like in a receiver. And he
love those dogs. Got that dog.
I think he is a legit 6'3", around there. And I think he's like 190, but I do think that he has that frame that he's going to fill out, and he'll get probably to 210, I would think, somewhere around there. And he plays real hard. He's kind of a yak guy. He's really strong in contested situations. His route running's all right. Like, he'll have to develop there, but if he decides to go to Ohio State, I don't know if he will, but if he did, that would be a decent spot for him to develop.
All right, that sounds good. Isaiah Moore, wide receiver, final pick, number 48 off the board. There are some high-rated guys that didn't even make it to our 4-round mock, and that'll just goes to show you, when you dig in and you're really looking at a fantasy lens, it is not always worth it just to go by what the service rankings are. Stick with Campus to Canton. We will give you the real truth here. I will recap just so we get names. If someone was fast forwarding and they got to the end or whatever, go back and listen to the whole thing. But here's the recap here for starting with round 3. Johan Cardenas, running back, Colin Hurley, quarterback, Terrence Moore, Perry Thompson, both receivers, Luke Kromanowick, quarterback, Quentin Martin, athlete / running back, Caleb Odom, tight end, Zion Kearney and Nigerian Tuggle, wide receiver, Daniel Hill, James Peoples, Christian Clark, all running backs. And then we had Michael Hawkins, a quarterback with a high upside, Aaron Hampton, Xavier Jordan, both wide receivers, Aeneas Williams, a running back, Walter Matthews, tight end, Gatlin Bear, wide receiver, Braylon Russell, Caden Durham, running backs, Wyan Ringo, wide receiver, Priest Korn, Benton Kurt, back-to-back tight ends, and then Isaiah Moore, wide receiver. One more note on Gatlin Bear before we get out of here. David did have a problem taking him, was questioning why. If you're wondering why he was talking about like waiting, Gatlin Bear probably going to be going on a LDS mission for a few years, 2 years. It's just, there was a guy, Hagen, I really liked last year, and he is in the mission field right now. So we will hopefully we'll get to see him at BYU next year. And Bear's just one of those guys that, we have to be patient with for that reason. If you're wondering why David was struggling so bad from a fantasy angle, it's something we should consider. But anyway, that's the mock. Go back and check out the first 2 rounds if you haven't already, and then obviously listen to all of our shows. But if you love the mocks, we will be doing this again mid-June with a mock round 2. See if any of these guys change positions. We're going to be keeping track of the ADP based on where we are doing this and see who changes as we move through the summer and even into next spring. So, guys, any parting shots? Dylan Raiola to Georgia, Aaron Butler to Colorado, and then the mock draft. It was a great show, and we'll get out of here unless you have anything else.
Yeah, I just want to say I butchered that last name. I was doing it off the top of my head. It's not Isaiah Moore, it's Elijah Moore. And
Elijah, okay.
The On3 algorithm has him favoring Penn State. So, I don't know. Just wanted to make those 2 comments.
Well, I found an Isaiah Moore on 24/7. I didn't look close enough. He was a linebacker who is on the team, but this will be his last year. But I didn't look close enough. I just saw 24/7 had an Isaiah Moore, and I was like, okay, that sounds good. All right, Elijah Moore, wide receiver, going to David with that final pick. And with that stat correction, we're out of here. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.